This might be the biggest Outlast Trials season we've had so far. We're getting a new main trial, 2 new MKs, a brand new X-Pop, the first ever community event, free Murkoff coins, new catalogs, Twitch drops of course, and somehow that still isn't even the biggest part of the update. So let's go through with everything coming in Season 7, starting with the new trial. We have a new main trial called Locksock the Warden that's set in a prison farm. This helps to separate from the police station's jail area. And alongside that, Coyle is also getting a slight refresh to his outfit. In this new main trial, we will also get a new first look at the new Xbox, the Biter. Their design is already pretty interesting because their arms have been removed to lean more into their name, the Biter. And they'll be found chained up inside the trial. From what we know at the moment, we should definitely be cautious around them. This could potentially work similar to the Screamers, where you need to be careful around them. With the big difference being is that the Biters have augmented legs, which apparently will give them unexpected velocity. Big boy words here. My assumption is that if you make too much noise around them, they may actually break loose from these chains, which sounds terrifying, while also very intriguing. The Biter will also be found on the 2 new MK challenges for now. The first one being Bribe the Judges, which will be set in the courthouse and will reuse the suitcases full of money that we can find from Traffic the Product, and we will be corrupting the judges, like the trial name suggests. The second one is Cancel the Broadcast, which will be in a TV station. That one will probably use some variation of its main trial objectives, but we'll have to see exactly how it plays when the season goes live. Next, we have our first ever community event, which is also tied to the first event of the season, Blood Drive. The gimmick of this event is that blood extractors will be scattered around the trials, and we'll need to donate our blood to participate in the community event. Each time you use a blood extractor, it drains your health by 1 bar permanently. That health loss will last for the entire trial, even after death, and there won't be any health pills to recover the damage lost. So I'm assuming the optimal strategy will probably be to get a health booster from Boosted Amp or a secret room from a main trial, and then proceed to use the blood extractor 4 times towards the very end of the trial. So gameplay wise, this event doesn't seem like it changes things too heavily, but the rewards that come with it are definitely going to be appreciated. There will be 5 milestones for us to hit as a community, with the rewards progressively increasing, starting at 10,000 XP, which is the same amount as a rebirth. Second and third milestone will be 500 stamps and 200 of the event tokens. Then one of the best rewards that caught me off guard was that the 4th milestone will give everyone who participates 500 Murkoff coins for free, which can be used to buy any of the old catalogs or any of the skins in the black marketplace that is 500. And finally, the last milestone rewards us with a legendary skin. Looks like a reskin of a Doctor style outfit, but in a much more appealing color scheme for my taste buds. As usual with most events, Blood Drive will also come with its own specific catalog. That catalog includes 2 recolored outfits matching the Bloody Nurse theme for the baby and the nun. There's also cell bundles, some cell items, a blood poster, and then the big one for me, new knife skins and rig customizations. I used to pray for times like this. That is so peak. I am already looking forward to them adding even more of these. And lastly, they're experimenting with a new Murkoff box, which will only be available during this event for now. With this, you can infinitely spend your event tokens in exchange for XP, normal stamps, and cosmetics you may not have earned yet, which that caters more to new players, but I'll definitely appreciate free XP for just spare coins that would go to waste anyway. There will of course also be a Season 7 specific catalog with even more cosmetics to earn, as well as even more knife and rig customizations. I'm very curious about the emotes coming into this catalog though. Since this is also a launch of a new season, new Twitch drops will be available. Feel free to earn them by watching me over at twitch.tv/Bluriate. There are also a few outfits coming to the marketplace, probably gonna be around 1,000 Murkoff coins like every other outfit. Also, the free outfit you get when purchasing Murkoff coins for the first time has also refreshed into a different outfit. Now, let's get into the most anticipated changes of this update. Escalation 2.0. There will now be weekly escalations based around a specific theme, where everyone gets the same trials and the same variators. These weekly escalations will also have their own leaderboard that resets every week. It seems like the leaderboard will be based off of your peak and the time it took you to get to that peak if you are tied. The first ever theme is going to be hardcore, and this will contain no revives and permanent damage on every single trial during it. Then, in the following weeks, the guaranteed variators will change depending on that week's theme. This will coexist with your usual endless escalation mode that we've already used to. With this escalation 2.0, the peaks are also getting reset, because they ended up to fix the funny business behind saves. Previously, people were able to endlessly pass along their escalation runs, which led to the infamous community virus of over 30,000 trials completed. Alongside that, people could Alt F4 to retry if they died. So this reset is being done to make escalation feel like the roguelike mode it's supposed to be. Which this could mean that going for escalation peaks might have a meaning again. There are also some extra rules being added to help protect the integrity of the leaderboard, but we'll know more about those once the patch notes are fully out. Now, for Invasion 2.0, this finally clarifies what the both roles are supposed to be. Reagents are the prey, imposters are the hunters, and that should help everyone understand what direction Invasion is actually being balanced around. For imposters, we finally have more than just our trusty knife. We now have imposter exclusive gadgets, and we can take out 3 out of the 6 with us. Stabs have also been reworked. If you stab a reagent while they're aware of your existence, it starts a button smashing minigame. Your performance in this minigame determines how much damage you will deal and how well you might come out of an encounter. So no more using projectiles to break free. But if imposters successfully land a stealth stab from behind, that delivers an instant down. To help reagents out, as this is a stealth game at the end of the day, imposter night vision goggles have been nerfed heavily. This is to allow reagents to be able to sneak around in the dark more effectively. And from what I've seen, it looks utterly brutal. To the point that it might actually be better to just keep them off completely. It will also be no longer viable to projectile overload the imposters. Projectiles will have much less impact, and there's also a new system in place to prevent imposters from getting stun locked, which I'm very curious to learn more about. Seems like they also shrunk down the trial selection to focus more on trials with multiple objectives, as trials with choke points tend to be very unfun for the reagents. Also, a brief mention of trials being adjusted to feel more open with fewer dead ends. So if the imposter gadgets aren't good enough, it seems like we're gonna be in for Need for Speed. Skill-based matchmaking is also finally being introduced. This will of course depend on the player count on invasions, and they will loosen if necessary. This means less YouTube shorts for me, sadly. As imposter, you can currently hear the reagent cries after you've slain them, with this season allowing both sides being able to communicate with each other. In all honesty, this is a double-edged sword. On one moment it could create some amazing moments and strike fear in my foes, but it could also cause bad ones, especially for us who will be streaming invasions. But thankfully, this can be opted out of. The amount of time imposters will have before they need to retreat will now depend on how many imposters there are. Solo imposters will now get 5 minutes, whereas a 4-man group will only get 2 minutes each. There will also be no more reagents or imposters Alt-F4ing and reconnecting to exploit, finally. Now, back to the gadgets. First, we have the Mimic. This gives you the option to mimic the appearance of the reagents. So now you'll be able to invade with your own outfit if you choose to not use Mimic. Which Mimic also will make you quieter while moving and also preparing stabs. This will also include a fake item used to try blend in and prevent yourself from getting pinged. That sounds very familiar, because it is. With this change, they're removing the imitate imposter chem that gave you the fake item, and it replaces it with a backstab chem, which bypasses the struggle minigame earlier mentioned. The next gadget is Neuroshock. This is a projectile for imposters that briefly stagger the reagent, but only on direct impact. If you miss, you can recollect it. It also disables their rig, as if they've been hit by coil. The next gadget we have is called the Stim. This is an adrenaline shot for the imposters that increases our speed and stamina, while also preventing us from getting staggered. I really hope it's as useful as it sounds and doesn't just cause us to rubber band even more. Then there's also the Steel Trap. It's a deployable trap that activates when the reagent walks over it. It will do slight amount of damage and hold them in place while they have to mash out of it. And we also have the motion sensor. This is a deployable device that can detect reagents, of course, and they will glow up as red compared to your usual white pings. And it will emit a tiny noise and will be destructible from projectiles. And finally, we have the X-Pop bait. This will be a projectile we can throw, which forces an X-Pop to spawn from the nearest insertion gate. They'll stick around this projectile and actually patrol the area around it. Moving on to knife and rig customizations, which I think we've been all wanting for a long time. They're adding new mastery tasks, which will let you unlock the gold versions of each rig, including the knife. As the mastery tends to go, these will be specifically tied to each rig. But this should be a nice extra grind for us at the end game to have something to work towards. There are also some quality of life changes included, which we're getting loadout presets with up to 3 for reagent and 3 for imposter. Probably still gonna stick to 1 do it all loadout, but it's still a very nice feature to have. Cosmetic presets next, please. And for those of you newer to the game, they've added a hint feature to nudge you in the right directions if you ever get lost. I'm probably going to need this every time I do a new trial. You will be able to turn it off if you don't need it, as it does clutter your screen quite a bit more. And that is pretty much everything we know so far about Season 7. Between the new trial, the Biter, Blood Drive, Escalation 2.0, Invasion 2.0, Imposter Gadgets, Mastery Rewards, and finally more customization, this genuinely might be the biggest season of the Outlast Trials so far. Obviously, we still need to actually play it and see how all of this feels in practice, but based on what we've been shown, Season 7 is looking extremely promising. I'll be live checking it all out as soon as it drops, so let me know what change you're the most excited for, and I'll see you in the trials. Bye bye.